Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episodes for economical aspects. We're going to discuss about something interesting, especially about the developing nations. And like example, I am actually live in Malaysia, but I am from a country like Bangladesh. I have my another friend, Mr. Monir. He is from Australia. He is already citizen of Melbourne and Australia, and he will join with us today. I want to request Mr. Monir.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
And we have our Professor Nick Palveda from USA, and he is also CEO of IBM Televisions. So I want to
Nice
start
to
with
meet you, Nick.
something. Thank you. Yes, I want to start with something because from the economic aspects, always I believe that developing nations has to say something. They want to share something. Maybe this is different than USA. This is different than developed nations. They have different strategy, different things. Even in COVID periods, many countries they are facing many troubles, even especially their GDP growth, their business growth, lot of unemployments, and many more things. But especially our audience, if you focused on in South Asia, you can check that Bangladesh GDP growth, according to Human Development Index, their GDP growth and many more things, now they are in very good shapes. Even in Asia Pacific, let's say you focus on in Vietnam, if you can find the Vietnam strategy, you can understand their GDP growths and everything's actually very interesting. Even in Asia Pacific, only Vietnam will be in the positive GDP. Even in South Asia, only Bangladesh will be in the positive GDP in COVID period even. So it has inner different strategy. Actually, today I'm going to discuss with Mr. Monir about this kind of strategy, what he understand, let's say, about this Bangladesh economy, and he is now in Melbourne. What you want to share from the Melbournes? Beside that, we have our specialist, Professor Nick Palveda. He also come up with the developed nation context. Then we can understand, and culturally we can understand each other. So, hello, Mr. Monir. How are you? Can you please introduce yourself as well as you can share your journey from Bangladesh to Melbourne?
Yes.
How you? Yes.
Hi, this is Munir. I am currently living in Melbourne, Australia, and I have actually migrated from. I was born in Dhaka and brought up in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Then I have migrated to Australia in the year 2011, and since then I've been living in Melbourne. So it's been like around 9 years that I'm living in Australia. I am currently working. I have actually studied engineering in Australia. I've completed masters in electrical engineering, and then I've applied for my permanent residency visa. Then I have applied for the Australian citizenship. Now I am working in the retail energy sector, and I am working as a metering contestability specialist. Working for a leading local retail energy company. So my journey from Bangladesh to Australia was actually a bit of like roller coaster journey. It was not very smooth. There was lots of ups and downs. It was a very complex and challenging journey. But the objective that like me and my wife had at the beginning, we have actually successfully achieved that objective. So we are very happy now. And yeah, both me and my wife, actually, we are very happy.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you one specific point, then I will go to the Professor Nick Palveda. Let's say you are from Bangladesh. Even in present COVID-19 situations, if we observe the IMF report, according to IMF, that they are comparing India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and every economy. Only Bangladesh in 3.5 plus growth right now in GDP, as well as HDI playing a very good role, like healthcare system, education systems, women rights, and many more things. Bangladesh playing very good roles. And economical stability, I know that foreign, those who are the foreigner, those who live abroad, they have very good contributions in Bangladesh, as well as they have different garments industry and different things. What do you want to share? Why that Bangladesh community in the COVID period? This is very, very interesting, because in many countries, even I think USA, country like India, they are suffering a lot. Why Bangladesh go for this positive growth? What is the inner strategy? What do you want to share with us?
I think basically it's not a very straightforward strategy which is making Bangladesh successful, economically. It's a very complex method. A lot of different things actually related. For example, I would like to focus on the flow of remittance that Bangladesh is getting from, the overseas people who are living in overseas countries. For example, people living in America, or people living in Australia, people living in the UK, Europe, or people living in other overseas countries like Middle East, for example. Um, Although it's a very, very concerning situation due to this COVID-19 pandemic, still people who are living in overseas, they are contributing, and they are actually sending money back to home. For example, if I have a family, definitely we need to think of the family as well. Pretty much every person who is living in overseas, they are also concerned about the fate of their family, about their financial situation, and they are making contribution towards
Mhm,
their
mhm,
family.
mhm,
So flow of remittance is possibly a very, say, a big reason why Bangladesh is doing really well economically as compared to other different countries. And then definitely the export. Um, we need to consider that the export, and also the other, say, business stuff that Bangladesh is doing. Say, for example, um, if I give you example of Australia, Australia is actually getting lots of different items getting imported from Bangladesh, and this could be like similar situation for UK or other European nations or Middle Eastern countries or America. Bangladesh has been able to send, say, different products,
mhm.
or manufacturing products or garment products to other overseas countries. Although we have to definitely understand that it is not as much as it was before this pandemic period. Basically, the flow has been decreased, but it's ongoing. It is still happening.
Excellent. Professor Nick, because I think you are sharing some of the data and statistics, I think about South Asia. What do you want to share? Like example, I know that USA is a big economy. USA have very good investments,
Sure.
very big corporation in USA. How do you want to like compare this USA economy and this kind of Vietnam economy, Bangladesh economy,
Right.
this kind of small countries economy? How do you want to give some analysis?
All right. Well, this what we're looking at right now, Sharif, is actually the GDP of Bangladesh. Okay, which is for people that
Mhm,
don't do a lot of economics and are not blessed with master's degrees in electrical engineering. Gross domestic product is basically the amount of goods and outputs that the country produced. Now, in 2010, Bangladesh was 115 billion. All right. Now, as we move to 2020, it grew to $302 billion. It actually tripled, Sharif. And if you work like I do in actuarial sciences, you go, that's pretty good. It actually tripled in a period of 10 years. Now, if it were close to triple, if it tripled again in 10 years, it'd be $1 trillion economy, a quite significant economy. So the trend line on Bangladesh is actually pretty good. Now, here's the problem if you want to look at what the U.S.'s economy is. U.S. economy, and I don't know if I can flip the chart over to that, but I know just because I read about it, it's about 23 trillion. I mean, so we have a pretty huge economy, but the thing is, we're not growing at that rate. In other words, we're 23 trillion next year. Maybe we'll be 24 trillion. You see what I mean? We're not going to triple in 10 years, but they have a real possibility of actually tripling. So the trend lines are pretty good that we're seeing, and I believe that this is DACA for the Americans who don't know what. Yes, they have a downtown over there. Yeah, can you believe that? Skylines and everything. As a matter of fact, so the thing is, and this is another picture of the Dhaka skyline. So a lot of people, like I said, don't even know in the United States. I'm just letting you guys know. They don't even know where Bangladesh is. In other words, so it's almost like you got to be a little bit basic with them. You know, where is Bangladesh? Where does it look like? So the trend lines are good, Sharif. I mean, the thing is, we're not looking at bad trend lines. We're actually looking at some pretty good trend lines and pretty good data.
Yes. Professor, one specific things I want to know. Let's say last 10 years of time, I saw many developments, especially corporations and other things. If I compare last 4 or 5 years, last 4 years, let's say China, let's say if you see the many big projects in development, energy sectors, then roads and highways, smart city developments, even manufacturing, let's say even garment manufacturing, what actually my friend Mr. Monir trying to share, different kind of manufacturing, China moving to Dhaka, China moving to Bangladesh, China making a very good collaboration, not only even Malaysia, China making very good collaborations, even everywhere, even in the real, we saw that India and China has problem, but in real worlds, in business world, China and India has very good relationship. But we do not see much of involvement, let's say, from USA, different corporation. Previously, we saw that General Electronics and different big companies go to Bangladesh and doing their business. But last 4 years, I'm telling you truth, and this is very honest things, that we do not find that much big corporations from USA, they go to Bangladesh or making business collaborations. What's the reason behind that? What do you want to share? Or do you think that it is different strategy of your country or what?
Maybe, but the thing is, I think there's another explanation of what's going on there. The maps. See, the thing is, it's always good to have graphs and maps. Okay, and see, here's what we're looking at. The location of China and Bangladesh, and I guess everybody can see on here what we have. We have green being China, which is a huge country. It's like Australia. It's big geographically. Australia is big as the United States, but the population is only 24 million. We have 330 million. China is as big as the United States, but population is 1.3 billion people. But look, Sharif, at the location of China to Bangladesh. It's pretty close. The United States, you don't even see on the map. So part of it deals with the proximity of China to Bangladesh. So there's a lot more traffic between China and Bangladesh. And Bangladesh has a very significant population, 160 billion people. 160,
million people.
Million people, excuse me. Yeah, you're not 160 billion. That would be huge. 160 million people. But I think a lot of it has to do with the location of China relative to Bangladesh. Now, that may all change because of the internet. And it has been changing. The internet, before the COVID-19, low cost of flying over there, and also the U.S. just likes to get involved with all these other, at least the companies, into everybody else's business. You know, we're kind of like nosy. Let's go find what everyone else is doing. So it may all change, but right now it's the proximity, I would say, more than anything, is what you're looking at.
But on the other hand, USA and India has very good business collaborations, very good business relationship. Do you think that USA missing some points for globalizations last 4 years? And this is if they engage with this kind of country like Vietnam, country like Bangladesh, country like Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
Even this kind of country, if they engage, their economic stability and other things go in a positive way. What's your observation?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, India, I think the attraction of India is also the popular, just same with China. In other words, we do a lot of trade with China. I know you hear all the rhetoric by the politicians that, hey, we, at least over here, hey, China this, China that, China, baloney. It's one of our biggest trading partners, Sharif. Okay.
Mhm.
So the thing is, the politicians say one thing, the businessmen say this. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trade between here and China. There's a lot of trade between us and India, but also the Indian population is big. They have 1.3 billion people also. So due to that population and same with China and the ability for them to manufacture a lot of goods, we do a lot of business with India and China. It's just a matter of time, I think, for Bangladesh, Malaysia, um, and these other countries to appear on the map, and we end up doing a lot more trading with them,
Mhm.
Sharif. I think you're going to see a trend toward that as time goes by. Even Vietnam we've been doing a lot more business with Vietnam. We used to not, because remember, the United States was into, remember, we said that the world is into love, right? Okay, that's
Mhm.
their idea of world. This is the U.S. idea of world. I mean, remember, we were in a war in Vietnam not
Yeah.
too long ago for nothing. In other words, it was kind of a stupid war. But the U.S. tends to get in a lot of stupid wars, so that also does create a lot of problems. And so as the time changes, things will change. And you're going to see the improved relationships and more trading. Remember, they say, oh, the U.S. and Great Britain are good friends. Well, that didn't happen in 1812 and 1776. We were like this with Great Britain. So, things change. And as we see things change, you're going to see a lot more trading with Bangladesh.
Yes. Beside that, it's actually just how we can connect developed nation like USA
Mhm.
and developing nations, country like
Sure.
Bangladesh or Vietnam, something like that.
Mhm.
Sir, beside that, I want to know more things, because USA have many Ivy League university. Even recently, when the ranking, we find that USA top 10 university, I think top 8 university from USA. Actually, how, as you are from Harvard University, Harvard alumni, how actually this kind of Ivy League playing role to develop the knowledge based society, and how actually USA playing role, we want to know more, and we want to integrate, because even actually from me, I'm taking a lot of initiative with
Yeah.
different universities and schools and college. We are strongly integrated with 100 different university. Next year January, we
Right.
want to do a summit, and definitely we want to see IBM Television as our partner, and we can
Mhm.
give you the insurance. Thousand of young blood will join this
Yeah.
event.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
the universities here open their doors to foreign students. Okay, I
Mhm.
don't even know that, Sharif. In other words, you'd think that, hey, you couldn't go to Harvard. If you want to go to Harvard, just let me know, and I get you to go into Harvard. I know
Mhm.
the backdoor way to get anybody into Harvard. If Muhammad wants to get into MIT, I can do that also as well. So the thing is,
That's good
but
to
you have
know.
to what? You,
That's good to know.
Okay, right. There's backdoor ways to get into all these universities, and they like foreign students. I backdoored into Harvard, by the way, and Oxford. So I went to both Harvard and Oxford, but I also went to University of Miami, University of Denver, University of South Florida. I was a education geek, and I got a lot of degrees. It was a lot of fun. But the thing is, the universities have open door policies toward foreign students. And on our Monday show, we actually had the dean of um, University of Illinois. He's on almost every week, Jeff Brown. And on our Monday show, we also have the former dean of Yale University, which is a Ivy League school. Former dean of Yale University Business School is on. He used to be the dean of the University of Chicago, but Yale is one of the Ivy League schools that we have. So part of the reason they do that is economics. In other words, getting foreign student money into the United States. Part of it is the diversity. They want to be known as a world university, not just a local university. So there's a lot of opportunities for people from Bangladesh, they don't know that, to actually go into top level schools in the United States, either through the internet if they don't want to physically get here, or there's special visas and they can actually come here and
Mhm.
go to
Yes.
school in the United States.
Yes, excellent. Mr. Monir, I want to know, like example, you are also going to Australia for your education purpose and other things, and you build up your careers. Also, you are trying to help the Bangladesh community from Australia. So, how you actually like you are trying to help the Bangladesh community, and we know many Bangladeshi students go abroad for study purpose. So, how they contribute for their country and for their development.
So there are different lots of ways actually. For example, it can be like, say people coming to study in Australia. Most of them actually like, tend to live in Australia after they complete their studies. Some people, they want to go back to home, basically to contribute directly, to the nation or to the community. Now, people who live in here, they basically try to help people who are living back home, or people who are a bit of disadvantaged who are living in Australia. They try to build up relationship to those people living in Australia as well as who are back home. They try to actually like, provide different assistance by giving them maybe like a guideline how they can basically, say they can success in their like in a career or their studies. People who go back home, they basically like, say they get a job maybe, or they start their own business, and they hire like, many other different people. They also get engaged in community like, leadership program, where they probably train other people, and they basically build up relationship different community leadership institutions. Those are the ways actually how someone can contribute to the community, um, in either way, either living in Australia or like, going back home once they finish their study.
Mhm, mhm. Yes. Professor Nick, I just want to know, actually, you always said that education play a very good role
Hmm.
for economical sustainabilities, and it can solve many things.
Yeah.
So how you want to interlink this developed nation? Definitely. Even I think me, Monir, everyone has, we learn a lot from developed nations. That is the truth. What when we go to the, let's say, Europe or Americas, and we learn from them, and we try to contribute for our nations.
Right.
But my issue is that how do you want to identify the modern education system?
Mhm.
Because many times you say that present education system actually not representing the whole things. We have to change our educational model.
Yeah.
How do you want to clarify, and how do you want to help country like Bangladesh, country like Sri Lanka, country like Bhutan or Myanmar or Vietnam, Indonesia, or Malaysia? Yes.
What we're seeing right now is most international students come from in the U.S. come from Asia. You can see this on the chart,
Mhm.
Sharif. I love charts and graphs. Here we go.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Seoul, South Korea, right now in the United States has brought in 56,000 students from Seoul, South Korea. Beijing, China. Remember, we don't like China. Well, we love their students. 50,000 from Beijing alone. Then Shanghai, China, another 29,000. Hyderabad, India, 26,000. These are students in the United States studying. And then Riyadh, Saudi Arabia has 17,000. Mumbai has 17,000. Tapai, Hong Kong, Kathmandu, Nepal, 10,000 people, in the United States studying. So what you see is there is a lot of students internationally that come here, and there's the whole list of scholarships they can do. As a matter of fact, there's a list of the international students top 15 countries of origin. Number one is China. Number two is India, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, Iran, Nigeria, Nepal, United Kingdom, and Turkey. Where's Bangladesh? They're not on here yet. Okay.
Okay.
See, it's just a matter of time as they find the doors. Like I say, go through the front door, go through the back door to become students. But China and India have a look at this, Sharif, 350 156,000 students. 156,000 students. So there's a lot of international students here in the United States, because the United States is actually built on international people. So historically, until we got this new president, it was all built on international people. So the thing is, I think we're going to see as a trend back toward that, where you're going to have a lot more international students, and the universities like it because it gives a diversification and gives the students better thoughts of thinking globally rather than thinking locally, or at least they produce globally. Think locally, produce globally. So we're going to see the trend in that on education.
Mhm. Yes, Mr. Monir, you are discussing about some of the manufacturing hub, let's say garments industries, and some of the manufacturing things. Even many manufacturing hub from China, they are moving in South Asia, even in Bangladesh, even in they coming to Malaysia. What do you want to discuss about Australian situations? What's going on inside Australia, especially in COVID period?
Well, manufacturing industry in Australia is actually not that vast. The main reason, to be honest with you, Australia is mainly import-based, dependent on mainly China, India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, or some other countries. Now, the main reason is the labor cost in Australia is pretty high. And also, if you want to actually run a business in Australia, you will have to follow strict compliance and regulatory issues, and which is actually quite complex and difficult. Now, if someone wants to actually comply with those regulations, then it is difficult to run the business, and it becomes like the end product becomes very expensive. That is one reason why the industry growth in Australia is not that great. Australia is dependent to other, like, say growing countries like China or India, Bangladesh, that are basically the name that I have mentioned earlier. Now, government definitely cannot do much in terms of, say offering stimulating package, or like, say providing handed over money back to the big corporations. Even if they basically hand over money, or like, create more opportunities, the companies, like, definitely they always seek for more profits, and they can actually more profit if they open up a factory in, say, a third world country, for example, like, say Vietnam, or maybe like the country where the labor cost is like very low, or not that higher, for example Bangladesh or India or China. That is the reason why the manufacturing industry, I mean, the growth of manufacturing industry is not that good in Australia as compared to other different parts of the world.
Mhm. Mm. Professor Nick, I think you bring very good graph.
I
I
love
think based on
graphs.
yes. So what do you want to analyze, especially in manufacturing industry,
Yeah.
and what we understand that manufacturing in the COVID period, let's say China economy is moving forward.
Mhm.
Let's say example, country like Bangladesh or Vietnam moving forward because of the manufacturing hub. So what do you want to say? We want to know more about USA, even
Yeah.
Australia, and how do you want to analyze this point?
Yeah. Well, the reason why China is moving forward is they have 1.3 billion people. I mean, it's a lot of its numbers. They have a lot of numbers of people that can produce a lot of goods. Where if you go to Australia, where Muhammad is, they only have 24 million people.
Right.
Sharif, no one lives there. Okay, I mean Muhammad's there, but nobody else is there. Okay, there's kangaroos. Okay, so Muhammad is probably good friends with the kangaroo, but no one lives there. Okay, now the thing is, but they have a lot of land. They're as big as the United States. They're as big as China. Huge amount of land, no people. Now, if you go to Bangladesh, they have tiny little land, but lots of people. So the natural migration is for people from Bangladesh to go to Australia, and they find out, oh, there's plenty of land here and no people. It's a whole different world down under. So,
True.
is that right? So the thing is, you go down there and you got, hey, you want some land? Here's plenty of land. Where's everybody? There's nobody here.
It's actually not that easy though, Nick.
Yeah.
the land price in Australia is pretty high, actually overrated.
That's
I
because
should say
you're
overvalued.
that's because you're in Melbourne. Melbourne's expensive. You go to the outback, Mohammed. Go to the outback. There's no one there. There's plenty
Even
of land.
on that
Like,
point, even if you compare the outback land price, like between say Australia or maybe other different development countries, like developed countries, for example, USA, you will see Australian land value is overpriced,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, and what you said is also very important. Labor cost in Australia, labor costs in Australia actually exceed labor cost in the United States. The minimum wage there is like $19 an hour. The minimum wage here is $7.25 an hour. So to produce things in Australia, Sharif, is a lot more expensive. Okay, so it's expensive to produce in Australia. People go to the United States. It's more expensive to produce here. Then when they find Bangladesh, guess where they locate their manufacturing? They locate in Bangladesh because it's less expensive to produce goods and services in Bangladesh. Part of the reason, Sharif, as you know, a lot of our technology at IBM TV as well as IBM is developed in India. The cost of producing technology and getting things done is a lot less expensive in India than it is in the US. So a lot of our production is actually done out of India. It's not done in the United States. You know, we may do a certain amount of things over here, but then we locate our manufacturing over there. We're located over in Bangladesh, not the United States. It's just very expensive to produce things. And Mohammed sees the same thing. I'm sure they have a lot of production facilities. When he sees it, it's going to be over in, you know, India or Bangladesh. It's not going to be in Australia. It's too bloody expensive, mate, as they would say.
It
yeah.
is true. This is actually fact. I mean, in like onshore, we basically have service-based industry, not manufacturing industry. Manufacturing industries mostly are in offshore, not in onshore.
Right. Right. And then see, that's where countries like Bangladesh, that's the reason why Bangladesh tripled their gross domestic product in 10 years, and they may triple again because they have people, low labor cost. I'm not sure about the regulations, if it's bad or good, because I haven't been over there to see that. Over here, there's a lot of regulation. So if you want to get things done, it's not easy. Almost every day, I'm sitting in our office talking to our financial advisors or how we can get anything done, and then there's a regulation here, there's a regulator over there, there's, you know, it's real tough to get things done over here. So what happens is, like I said, a lot of our production is done out of India, it's done overseas, it's not done in the United States.
Professor Nick, I just want to know, let's say, what do you think, as USA has many strong dependency with China, with other country for manufacturing and productions and everything, do you think it has some positive impact in their economy or the negative impact? Like example, we should follow the US strategy or USA should change their strategy? Even the COVID periods, all of the border closed, there are many things happening. So is it helping for US economy? Because yes, I understand that you are only focusing on the low labor cost, cheap production cost, and
Right.
many things, but how it affecting US economy?
Yeah.
What's your observation? And
Well, there's positive and negative effects. The positive effect is, at least worldwide, it brings up the standard of living of people around the world. So as we move our manufacturing base over in China, and a lot of people did, a lot of countries did, the standard of living went up. So it helps out worldwide. The problem is that the money isn't retained here, but for the lower end people, they suffer a lot more than the people that are on the higher end who do. Like if you're an engineer here, you're okay, but if you're doing some other type of work, it could be not so okay. So there's good and bad effects about this globalization. Now, my stand is it's going to take place anyway. It's just a natural occurrence. So you're going to see more globalization going to take place because, like I said, from labor costs, certain labor costs we have to have done here because we have these technicians that know how to put these wires together in a certain way. You're like Muhammad, electrical engineer. They go in, they da 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 da, and they get things done. Okay, and we have to hire Muhammad for that. But then there's certain type of work, routine work. Hey, we need this and that done. It's better to hire somebody in Bangladesh or India to do that, Sharif. So what you're going to do is you're going to see labor forces go, frankly, all over the world, and it's going to be interconnected like we're doing right now through the internet. So you can talk to your people. We talk, obviously we talk to our people in India daily, and then through Ankit he talks to all the other people, so that we get all our production done over in India.
This is actually a very good idea and strategy. Maybe it's a very good for your US economy and the developed nations economy. But example, I just want to, I think Mohammed has also same experience. I think when I started, let's say from standard 6 to standard 10, every time we have to attend in the exam, and there is a specific questions that what is the impact of overpopulations, why it is bad for our country, what is the things happening for overpopulations, and it's a very bad for our economy. Everywhere we have to study this point, and we have to, I think Muhammad agree with me. But issue is that in the COVID period, we observed that these overpopulations actually give us some benefits. Let's say our foreign remittance, you can see that Bangladesh GDP growth is very good, and they have very good reserve right now, because the foreign like people, those who live abroad, they actually send a lot of foreign remittance to my country. Second things like yes, cheap labor, but I want to say that even Malaysian development, Singapore development, Bangladeshi cheap labor has very good contributions. They are actually strength for our economy. Example, we have our garments industry playing very good role. This is because of our cheap labor. And on the other hand, even if you compare the India and Bangladesh, yes, India has very good contribution for Bangladesh developments and Bangladesh independence and many things. But somehow you can check that India's economy and other things go down. It's a negative, -10. On the other hand, country like Bangladesh and Vietnam, they are positive. So what do you want to share? This economical analysis and aspect, is it correct or is it wrong? We are in the right track or we are in wrong track? What do you want to say? What the analytical things you want to add for today's show, sir?
The really good question of whether or not we're on the right track or the wrong track. I mean, the world economy is growing. I mean, ultimately it's growing. The only question is who's going to get which part of the pie. I think that you're going to see, like I said, there's going to be good parts and bad parts about that. For the most part, everybody's going to actually end up better off. And I think we've seen that even in Bangladesh, where you notice that they have where you have the GDP tripling. Over a period of 10 years, and if it keeps growing that way, it's going to triple again in the next 10 years. And the United States is going to increase too, but we grow at a rate of 3% per year. Okay, and it's been pretty steady, 3%. India 8% right now they're projecting. China 8%. Bangladesh tripling. So everybody's overall is going to be better off. Now, people will complain, well, we could have been better off if we're able to keep our manufacturing base here. Maybe not so true. What happens is that if people get educated, remember, like I said, that we go overseas for this, but we stay here. Like Mohammed has a specialty in electrical engineering, and he has a subspecialty. Okay, we would go to him to do that because we couldn't get the people here to do that type of work. And so the more education you get, and that's the reason, Sharif, the education is so important. The more education, the more specialized you are, the more demand you are, because you can do certain things that other people can't get done. And you have to look at yourself that way. So hopefully the people that come to watch our show realize that education is a key to moving up the economic food chain, so to speak. So the more educated people are going to do better. Like Mohammed, yeah, he has a specialty in electrical engineering. Electrical engineers are in demand. The real problem is, how do you ever get that bloody degree, Mohammed?
Well, somebody needs to study hard.
Yes,
right.
yes,
right.
yes. Mohammed, how do you want to share these points, your electrical engineering experience as well as this kind of economical aspects? Because I know that you are from debating community. You and me do debate together. I think many times I win, sometimes I lose. So no problem, no problem. We are from different university. We are very good competitors. So
Yes.
in our student undergraduation time. So I'm from United Universities and he's from Stanford University. Both of them actually president of debating clubs. So how do you want to share these things? How do you want to share your experience as well as these economical aspects? We want some inner insight. Yes.
Well, it's actually not quite easy to say, like, say which strategy will work and which won't. Like, say, the way Nick said, actually, even if, like, a country creates a lot of industry, that does not necessarily mean that the country will be successful in terms of keeping their GDP high, because you never know, like, in the long run what will happen. Like, something bad may happen and the industry may collapse, or maybe the industry may get unable to actually deliver their, like, their profitability. So if it's not making profit, obviously you don't get the benefit of the huge industry. Now, as Nick said, education is very important. Now, how it is important, for example, consider the situation of Bangladesh, right? Say Bangladesh is doing consistently really well in terms of education, and also in terms of especially like women education and women empowerment. Now, if a nation is educated and you can actually, um, like, make the people skilled, those people can in the long run contribute to the community. And, like, doesn't matter whether they are living in onshore or they are going offshore. Now, if you're educated, you definitely can have some sort of, like, say, like some sort of like values or some sort of skills that you can utilize. You can utilize those competencies and you can contribute. Now, say, this is the key thing. I think Bangladesh is actually consistently doing well, and which is giving the benefit, right? Now, this is the same thing in Australia. Like, people who are educated in, like, in Australia, who are getting good degrees and who are getting skilled, they are doing really well. They are getting, like, good jobs, or maybe they are getting, like, say like, higher. They are getting, like, more skilled by, say, completing higher studies, and it is creating more opportunities. Now, when you have more opportunities, you definitely have the success rate higher. You can actually do lots of things if you can get opportunities. I think that's the key thing. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's Australia or Bangladesh. This is how it should work, and it is working in that way.
Mhm. Excellent. I think Professor Nick come up with a very good graph about FDI, foreign direct investment. And yes,
Mhm.
this is another interesting things happening right now. Even in COVID period, I have some engagement with different projects, like many actually FDI happening. Professor Nick, do you want to add something about this FDI and how it works?
Yeah. I mean, it's increasing from 2009 all the way to 2018. You'll see the graph. It's increasing dramatically. Foreign direct investment into Bangladesh. In other words, because the Bangladesh economy is growing, because it has a whoa, look at this! Wow, I mean, it has some very good numbers, Sharif.
Mhm.
Second fast-growing economy, 8% target growth
Mhm.
in Bangladesh, 7.5 in 2015, 7.4 in 2016. So the thing is, the people that look at numbers look at Bangladesh and they're going, and even we're looking at Bangladesh. Come on, you can't ignore 168 million people, that have the ability to buy goods, services, products, produce products, watch television. How would you like
Mhm.
168 million viewers. I mean, so it's a very fast growing economy, and certainly that also attracts the foreign direct investment, which we just saw earlier. So I think you're going to see a lot of changes in Bangladesh. You're already starting to see some of the cities grow. They still have a way to go, but the thing is, they're moving in the right direction. And also, we do notice they do have my favorite 5-star hotels. Got to have your 5-star hotels
Yeah.
already being developed there. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for Bangladesh going forward in the future.
And especially, I do want to give special thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She is a lady, and she did many good things last 14 years. Last 10 12 years, like she did actually a lot of things, especially there are many mega projects what you are talking about, like 5-star hotels and many more things actually happening right now. And this is because of FDI. I know that this is because of FDI, and FDI playing a very good roles. But my question is that, especially when we work with the local ecosystem in Malaysia, in Indonesia, even in Bangladesh, like how to attract FDI, there is a problem. I think they can learn, and you are actually expert of money masters.
Mhm.
You know how to make money, and your television channel actually doing a tremendous job, and you have a fast. You are one of the fastest growing television right now. I think 122 countries now
Right.
observing IBM televisions. So how do you want to guides like country, like I'm sure today actually many Bangladeshi audience and the South Asian audience, Asia Pacific audience, they're going to observe this show, and we will share as much as possible. So what your advice, what your, let's say you are advisor of our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, so
Mhm.
what you want to advise her?
Well, the thing is, build bridges, build relationships. I mean, I think that's the important thing on a going forward basis. Is you've just got to have good relationships with other countries, good relationship with other companies, and realize that companies and countries and politicians are all different. So the thing is, the politicians may dwell in the mud, okay, because that's what they do. Governments may dwell in the mud, but business people dwell in building things like 5-star hotels in Dhaka. Okay, so you want to spend some time with the business community and also the internet. What a powerful tool, Sharif. I mean, the
Mhm.
thing is, one of the key things if you want to build a country today, build the internet and the bandwidth to access the internet, because it has all sorts of information on how to move ahead is contained in these little things, computers. But the computers have to have the bandwidth so you can access this. So I think bandwidth is going to be very important. And we've seen that in Africa, where a lot of our programs that come from Africa, certain places in Africa, they don't have the bandwidth. So we can't see them. Obviously, Melbourne has good bandwidth. Mohammed comes in real clear. You come in real clear. But you have to have the bandwidth to be able to do that. And so I would make sure I'd build the infrastructure. That's where you're going to win, is having good infrastructure. And the internet and bandwidth is the super highway of the future. Building roads, building bandwidth makes a difference.
Mhm. Excellent. I want to know from Mr. Monid, like country like this kind of country, they have many micro initiative. Like many people do handicraft, many people has engagement with agriculture. What I want to share actually, according to my understanding, this kind of country, they have three things. Number one, they have a very good agro-based system. Number two, they are trying to developing the manufacturing hub. And number three, they are trying to developing the service industry. These are the strong things that they are managing, like Bangladesh managing right now. So what do you want to say about this micro initiative, about this microeconomics, and those who are engaged with, let's say, this agricultures, this handicraft, this garments industry, or this kind of small initiative? How do you want to share about their experience?
Look, I think Bangladesh is pretty much doing pretty well in terms of the garment industry, and agriculture. I think there's something needs to be done in terms of boosting the agriculture industry. We have, obviously, we're aware of the fact that every year, like farmers actually struggle to get the good price of their products, which is actually one thing that makes the farmers these they actually just lose their interest in terms of growing the products in next year. So something needs to be done in this field, in this sector, so that the farmers can get good price and they can get their interest to grow their products next time. The other thing is the cold storage system. I believe that it is not enough in Bangladesh, and as a result, a lot of say food items basically they get rotten because there's not enough cold storage in the country, like nationwide. So they cannot store those items, and they just get rotten. So there are many other things that actually can be done. Another thing is as you mentioned, handicrafts. There are lots of entrepreneurs actually now. They're working in this field, and they are coming up. They have their own startup businesses. They're actually personally, individually, everybody is trying really hard to grow their business, which is a very good thing. But then definitely there has to be some way so that they can, for example, reach to the mass people. They can actually, say, distribute their products to the mass people, to the mass market. So I think a combined, or something needs to be done so that everybody can come maybe under the same umbrella, and they can actually reach. They can actually go to the people, to the end people, and they can sell their products say locally or globally. The other thing is, I feel so you mentioned about the big mega structures. The one say important issue with the big mega structures basically is that those mega structures are they're failing to deliver those major mega structures on time, and they just delay the deadlines. They cannot finish it, and they need to extend the deadline, which actually costs more money, and they actually are getting expensive day by day. There are lots of big structures. Those
One thing, that's why you should believe on IBM televisions, because there are many news. There are many news is not always correct, because I want to share, let's say in Malaysia, if you come to Malaysia, definitely in Melbourne also has same things. Malaysia first, Mahathir Mohamad, personally I meet with him several times. Malaysia actually first, they focus on good infrastructure. Otherwise you cannot invite Professor Nick Palveda. uh, Otherwise you cannot invite big investor company. I think this is also important. This is also important. And definitely there are some good mega projects impact, like say Podda Bridge, when Podda Jamuna Bridge, even example good air airports, good ports, good roads and highways, very important for managing the supply chain management, according to my understanding. But Professor Nick, you are very good fan of technology, and I am also, and you come up with a very interesting things. I just want to know one specific point. Let's say when we observe this growth of this mobile telecom in Bangladesh, let's say Grameen phones, it's really changed a lot. Then
Right.
come Bikash, mobile money transferring. It's changed a lot. Believe me, what actually my friend actually sharing about this micro initiative. Now they are sending their money only with their mobile phones. And this is actually from MIT, Dr. Iqbal Kadir and their family actually taking their brothers, Mr. Kamal Kadir. He is also joining with this School of Economics. He confirming us. So they are actually taking a lot of initiatives. So I want to know more. What's the new technology will be helpful for this kind of developing nations? What's new after this mobile phone revolutions?
Yeah, well, the mobile phone revolution is going to continue. There's a media revolution that's going on right now, as we well know, which is one reason IBM TV is involved in the media revolution. And I think you're going to see trends on that. But with that, there are going to be companies that make mistakes. Quibi just went out of business here in the United States. They were funded with $1.75 billion. Sharif. And in 6 months, they started the same time we did 6 months ago. In 6 months, we went from 0 to top 2% in the world in terms of websites, IBM TV. 6 months they went from 1.75 billion spent to out of business.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, and they had Meg Whitman, who used to be the chairman of eBay. They had Katzenbach, who was head of this big media company. See, and we discussed this, Sharif. Being big and having a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful. And sometimes
Mhm.
they get caught up in their own ego. In other words, like, hey, we're going to be the next Quibi, which we're going to develop small little content, and they're already out of business. We're still in business. We're doing fine. 122 countries. We have 62 shows growing, and we have no debt and a lot of capital. Okay, they're out of business already. So you're going to see that. I think also what you're going to see is what is the strong point if we're looking at Bangladesh of their economy. We were talking about the textile industry, ready-made garments. 77% of their exports are
Mhm.
textiles. Now, I'll also tell you that industry used to be here in the United States and in
Mhm.
North Carolina, where I live. And you should see the
Oh
people. I don't know if you know that textiles were
no,
big here. Okay,
no,
they
yeah.
they they, they cry because the textile industry lost. We lost all these plants, which is true. Okay,
Mhm.
in other words, and so the textile industry basically you took it from us. It's all over in Bangladesh, and this is what I'm saying. The bad, people cry, oh, we lost. But guess what happened? It's being replaced with the technology industry. You see what I mean? In other words, so what's coming here? Cisco Systems that develops routers is here in Raleigh, Durham. Okay, Apple is here. Amazon's here. Epic Games is here. In other words, it's being replaced with a lot of tech companies. So yes, we lost the textile industry, but it got replaced. There's good. It's got replaced with a lot of other industries. What happened to Bangladesh? They have a big footprint in the textile industry, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Everything goes, if you get garments, it goes made in Bangladesh, you know? So,
Mhm.
so the thing is, everybody ends up benefiting from that because it ends up lifting their economy. And unfortunately, our textile industry is overseas right now. Everybody complains about it, but no one cares because somehow in Bangladesh, they're able to produce it cheaper. I don't know how, but they do, so the
Mhm.
textile industry's there.
Mhm. Yes. No, this is the thing. So ultimately, technology play a very good role. What I understand, technology play a very good roles, and you are coming up with a very excellent idea. So my friend Mohammed, how do you want to share the impact of technology, especially, yes, these are the life. I think now every woman, they utilizing this mobile phone. Every woman, they utilizing mobile money transferring whatever they earn, they send it to their countries. This is actually strength. This is actually very good strength. So Mohammed, how do you want to share your experience about this technology? Yes.
Yeah, it is true. Technology plays a great role in terms of like any development. It is true in for Bangladesh. It is also true for Australia. Say I think in Bangladesh, uh, I think right after connecting with this submarine internet cable line, Bangladesh's digital infrastructure actually changed drastically,
Hmm.
especially in like you know like in regards to the telecommunication system, the internet connectivity, um, and also like the digitalization of Bangladesh. Like this government, this the current Bangladesh government has a goal of like making digital Bangladesh, and they are actually continuously trying to do that. So the high internet speed or like better technology definitely makes things like easier, and which is true for any country. In Australia, we are now basically going for 5G, and I think pretty much USA, China, and some other countries are also trying to roll out 5G. The reason being is that 5G will make the communication faster, and analysts believe that this will make like services or like say industries more profitable. It will deliver actually more profit. So yeah, we will actually see how it benefits the community, but everybody is hopeful that it will deliver a good result. Like, so yeah, we're just waiting. So
Mhm.
countries like Bangladesh or any other, say, developing countries, they also need to, they also try to make their digital communication better. In terms, this will make, this will actually build a better bridge between Bangladesh and other developed countries
Mhm.
that can deliver good results in terms of economic growth, in terms of employment, in terms of education, you name it.
Mhm. Professor Nick, I think you want to say something about the wages of garments worker. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, this is one reason that Bangladesh is dominating the garment industry. It's the cost of labor. Look at the United States. 1,864 a month minimum monthly wage for garment workers. Bangladesh 197. So as you can see, other than Sri Lanka, they compete very favorably on the labor cost. And like I
Mhm.
said, labor cost is one, regulation is the other. So what happens is the garment industry has moved, and textiles have moved all over to Bangladesh. So they're really producing most of the garments throughout the world right now. In other words, it's made in Bangladesh.
Mhm. Excellent. Like, let's say, but for today's sessions, definitely I'm going to share with our Prime Minister office and different foreign ministry, ICT ministries, our business ministry, planning ministry, everywhere I'm going to share these sessions today. Definitely. Right the way I have all of the WhatsApp numbers, and definitely we're going to share.
Right.
So, Professor, what your observation for this kind of developing nations, what your advice, because I saw that you have a very good analytical things, and especially you are connecting with hundreds of countries. How do you want to advise this kind of small and developing countries?
Yeah, I mean, you want to move toward your strengths. In other words, and the strength of, if you're looking at Bangladesh, the strength is their people, and they have a lot of people, so they can mobilize armies of people to get things done. Education, then, if is the next thing. You want to make sure that the workforce is educated, because if they're more educated, they can actually get involved in higher end technology. In other words, garments are one thing, but developing 5G networks is a whole different thing. It takes a lot of education. If you get a lot of people like Muhammad out there, they become very valuable and they get snatched up, and the people in Australia want them, people in the United States want them. So education is something also that can improve the overall standard of living for the people in Bangladesh. So you have your strength already. You got your rock, you have your textile industry, but you can expand to other industries as well.
Mhm. Yes, Mohammed, what do you want to share about today's sessions as a concluding remarks?
I'm very glad that you have actually invited me in the session. It was really, really helpful. And thanks, Nick, for sharing your ideas and thoughts. I would like to say that um, everything that Nick actually said, education, technology, and also infrastructure, these are very important thing. And Bangladesh is doing great, but it can do better.
Right.
So we actually need to focus on, making things better, so that more people can have the access to better communication or technology. More people can get proper training, the training that they require, not just the training, like any training, the training that they require to build up maybe their career, or maybe their entrepreneurship, or maybe like, say, train other people.
Mhm.
Everything, like all these things are really, really important. And I personally, I hope and I believe that the government will focus on these things.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. Professor Nick Palveda, what your concluding remarks for today?
Yeah, well, Mohammed and I both concur. I guess we're not going to be doing good in debates then, if we both agree. The thing is, yeah, hey, look, it's the education of the workforce. I mean, it makes a big difference, and I believe in the 5G networks. In other words, increasing your bandwidth so you have access to a world of information.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Nick and Mohammed. Today's sessions definitely I'm going to share with our Prime Minister Office, our foreign ministries, as well as our business ministry, ICT ministries. Everything is in, according to Professor Nick, is in here. So I'm going to share with them, and I request our honorables prime ministers and all of the people, those who are doing very hard work for our nations. I want to give thanks to the much people, those who are doing a hard works. I want to give a special thanks to the business organization, those who are doing fantastic jobs. Please do your best works, and especially I want to request Professor Nick Palvedan. He has many interesting business organizations and the Ivy League University and many big university. You should focus on this kind of developing nations and do more collaborations. Country like Malaysia, country like Bangladesh, country like India, Vietnam, Nepal, Bhutan, then we can grow together and we can learn together. And that is the objective. IBM Television trying to help all of the peoples, and this is the way they are also growing. So everybody watch IBM TV, and hopefully they will achieve their objective soon. This is very interesting television. You can learn many things from there. Not only economy, you can learn music industry. You can learn about many things. I think they have around 62 like show now they are running. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for your valuable time and everything.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.